Welcome to Shalom Achshav on the Daf. We're holding in Zevachim Daf Yud Beis. The Gemara throughout the Daf speaks about the idea of Dichui, a carbon which was pushed away for being a carbon. And the Gemara speaks about the idea that it could be something which is Dochimi Kara, was never going to be a carbon. And something even worse is something which is Nire Nidcha. It was going to be a carbon, it was pushed away, it's not Roy anymore. And then it possibly does not come back to become a carbon. The Gemara also added the idea of something which is going to be roy that day. It's not considered to be pushed away. It's not considered to be Dichui. If that day in the morning cannot be a carbon, or the night before cannot be a carbon, that's a Korban Pesach. According to Ben Beseir, even though in the morning it cannot be a carbon, because late in the afternoon it could be a carbon, it's not considered to be Dichui. We have a beautiful connection of this sugya to Inyan Diyayma, the Inyanim that we're dealing now with, the Inyanim of Teshuva. And the Sefer Kostos Or, which was written by the Baal Poni Me'iris, Meir Eisenstadt. In Parshas Nitzavim, he brings a question. He says, how can Teshuva work? When a person goes and does an Aveiro, he is considered to be Dichui, he's pushed away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he was Nire v'Nidcha. He was close to Hashem, and he was pushed away. If so, how can he come back? We have the rule, the Nire v'Nidcha, Eina Choyze v'Nire, does it go back to become Roi? You can add to that we know that the carbon represents a person. That's not, as we mentioned in the previous year. The idea is that the carbon comes in the Mizbeach instead of the Hodam. So if by a carbon you have a din of Nire v'Nidcha, it could be possible. So here an Adam who was close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and who was pushed away, how can he come back and be Roy? Says the Kodesh Or, I had this question and I did not see anybody asking the question. So he quotes the Gemara Lekamon, which is mentioned briefly in our daf, that if something which is biyadoi, if a person, the Dichui is something which you could change, is not considered to be Dichui. That the Shita Rav Ashi calls shebiyadoi lo yahave Dichui. So says the Kodesh Or, if a person is able to do tshuva, it's considered to be biyadoi. If it's biyadoi, that's why it's not nidcha. And he says that the pshat in the pasuk. The pasuk says, "Ki mitzvah zois," according to some Rishonim, is referring to the mitzvah of tshuva. Lo yirechoy ki mimcha. It's not too far. Lo b'shamayim or lo b'ev layami. It's not in shamayim. It's not b'ev layam. Because if so, it would be something which you can do. So then you'd say miyala no shamayim. Then you would not be able to come back because it's near v'nidcha. But because it's biyadoi, it's not considered to be near v'nidcha. And just as a side point, the Gemara by us and Mudbei says that a mummer is not considered to be biyadoi. The Gemara asks, maybe mummer is not considered to be dochi because biyadoi lachzor. So the Gemara, no, it's considered to be dich nidcha. How does that fit with the Kostos Or? But the Gemara says that's a question of Toises, like come on, the Vlamedal and Mudbei in the bottom. Where the Gemara there says that everything which is biyadoi is not considered to be nidcha. Says Toises, what about mummer in that Yud Beis? So says Toises, a mummer is not considered to be biyadoi. A mummer is someone who pushed himself away completely. He's not so much biyadoi to come back. And this is what the Meroy Mesade brings over here in her sugya. That's why we talk about specifically a mummer. Why don't we speak about somebody who did a chait and he just did not stop doing the chait? He put the carbon aside, but he didn't really do tshuva. He continued to eat chaylev. Says the Meroy Mesade, a regular person who's doing a chait, even though he knows what he's doing, but he's not a mummer. He's not doing purposely. He's just doing the te'avon. So he's considered to be biyada. He's not considered to be pushed away. He can always go back. But a mumar, he is not in the tendency to do tshuva. He's not considered to be biyada, like Toysa says, like, come on. And this is mamish the answer of the Kostos Or, that a Baal Tshuva is considered to be biyada. And that's the difference between a Baal Tshuva and a mumar, and that's a Baal Tshuva considered to be biyada, and he's therefore not considered to be nidcha. The Sefer Yitav Ponim, which was written by the Yitav Lev from Satver, in Shabbos Shuvah Oiz Dalet, he brings this discussion, he brings the Kostos Or, and he says the answer to the question of Kostos Or is what we said by us in Amud Aleph. The Gemara says, something is not considered to be pushed away if it's that same day. And the Gemara tells us in Sanhedrin, the Yoimish LaKadosh Baruch Hu Elav Shana, every day of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is 1,000 years. So you made it. If a person is pushed away during 1,000 years, he's not considered to be Nidcha. Says the Tavlev. So how do we say Nidcha if it's not exactly the same day, our day? Says that's usually we talk about Dini HaTorah. Dini HaTorah were given to this world, and this world every day is 24 hours. But Teshuva Kadma Lo'olam. Teshuva is above this world. And that's why there's no Dichui, because it's all considered to be one day. Says that's the Pshat in the Pasuk, the Tefillah Moshe. It says the Pasuk, why are you referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Me'olam V'ad Olam? To tell you, because we're going in Teshuva through the count of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is Me'ever La'olam, it's above the world, that's why you can do Teshuva, because the person is not Nidcha. And he says that's the Pshat that we say in Slichas, Al Tavoi B'mishpot imonu, don't come to Mishpat with us, meaning with our time zone. If you go based on our time zone, so there's no Teshuva, person is Nidcha. Milfonecha Mishpateinu means in your time zone we should do the Mishpat. And then Teshuva will work, because the person is not going to consider to be Nidcha, because Ein Mechus is man L'boi Bayoin, a Dover Nifla and a Chizuk Nifla regarding Teshuva. To join or to sponsor the Shor Machshava Shiurim, please email shormachshava@gmail.com.